Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is ExperiencePoints, and here we are in the final branch for the Axis Stalingrad campaign. As we keep playing Unity of Command, we are in Baku, which is in the deep south of this campaign. So, without further ado, let's begin. As this loads up, we've only got 3 left. Now, this is one of my favourite missions, and I certainly enjoy this because it's a bit of a steamroller, or you could say a blitzkrieg. We're keeping the theme. So, just overviewing, we have only one supply source in, and this can be threatened if you're not careful. The Soviets have a very unique situation. They have a supply source on the road, another one on the road to the south, and then 2 that aren't connected because the one in the city where your objective is actually isn't. There is a lot of storms that come through, particularly later on in the game, that actually blocks them off. And I found a particular strategy is if you control this point here on their supply line, you cut off guys up here, and this just becomes a steamroll. So it's a very important tactic. Yeah, let's just begin. Move my armor in, take this guy with an overrun, and then attack the city, and you'll get quite a good a victory. In this, very important, get rid of your engineering step. You need to transfer that over to these guys. So just do that. You'll attack this guy. You most likely will overrun. Not too bad. He has the what is it? The recon capability. And also note that you need to take these 2 points to be able to supply yourself on this road. Okay, block this guy. Now this is important that you juggle this well, because if you don't, this guy can sneak in here. So you need to make sure you keep this line, and you will be supplied for a little bit. Yeah, so here we go. I move my armor south, damage this guy, and then completely annihilate him. Bring this unit to the forest. Bring down this guy so he can't take your line, though it's likely that he will. Bring in your inexperienced unit, which is pretty much cannon fodder, to be honest. Okay, so they're just moving to test the waters. There are reinforcements that do come in the next turn. So there you go. You take the engineering specialist step into my more experienced tank. Now, just noticing this, there are 2 ways to do this. I want this unit down because of the recon capability. But you can move your armor down here and then cross on the second turn. But yeah, it's really easy for them to sort of, if it's only a single lane, they can just take back 1 step and then you've lost your entire supply line. But yeah, you want to drive your armor and your mobile units down south as hard and as fast as you can. Now I did have to bring that back, fortunately, because this won't be supplied because this unit is on that supply route. Okay, send your armor to clean up the units that attack from behind, and then start pushing forward. It is really important to note that all these units up here for the Soviets will be decimated quite soon. Just gonna point this out. Like, wow! Once you figure out this, it's huge. Like, they're just completely cut off. They won't retreat. They'll just keep sacrificing them. So just take note of that. It's a great strategy for this map, which I have got brilliant victories on a few times without prestige. Okay. So the remaining infantry here is pretty handy. He can at least hold his own, which is quite nice. These units are kind of weird. They'll try to cross the mountain. But even if you take their supply point, they won't really retaliate. Okay, so here we want to establish our supply line, so just taking note you need this step here, which is so annoying. But you do. Getting our guys into supply and just taking a shot where we can. Keep moving our guy to the south and trying to force him down as quickly as we can, moving our armor in, because right here we're going to get into a trouble where these units can get behind. At least with the armor, I'll be able to decimate anything I can. Okay, just re-stepping, reorganizing that guy. And just trying to slowly push through and make sure that I can't be, have my supplies cut off. Just what the infantry is handy for keeping that back line secure. You see the Soviets they're really running headlong into danger. But against tanks, it's just ridiculous. Okay, not too much worry there. And just reinforcing my unit. This armor is really just to make sure that these guys don't get up to anything, and I try to keep my supply line secure. Recently supplied. Though I am trying to push south because in this moment you are fighting the weather, and just to point out, the storm eventually takes all this, and then these units can't do anything. So you need to really drive them southeast as quickly as you can. These units are pretty good at just holding. And then once you've had this blocked up, there's no point. Like, you can just basically stop them from getting actual supply up in the north. Okay, now they have been completely starved of resources. And it is quite nice to note here that because of the weather, they've actually been severely crippled in their own supplies. So this is quite good news for us. All we have to do is hold. The infantry here are really good at cleaning up these scrappers at the back while your tanks just push through. Okay. Trying to get across that river and push as far southeast as I can. Now the tanks will probably get to attack again and again and again and again. So you want to be particular about what you are attacking so that you can keep moving forward. And as you see, I put this guy to the point where he basically can still attack, but he just can't, like, he has no strength. But luckily these guys can't attack either, so just a bit of a cleanup, but you still want to keep pushing south and using your infantry to really make sure that there's no hassles in the back line. I had no real problems. They have no partisans ability. Now I am trying to make sure that I am supplied here. Would I take the supply point? It's not necessarily, as long as you can hold until it matters. Really, once this happened, and continuing the storm has come in, if you take the supply point, you just go for it. Or, at least in the least, make sure they don't attack anything behind. Just here, this is an interesting situation to note. Their resource range is severely crippled because of the storm, so like 6, 4, 2, 0. And across the river, it just goes to 1. I do believe. So it's not really going to help anyone. You just got to make sure you're not going to get absolutely smashed when you're out of supply. Okay, so we're doing well. Turn 6, we're inside of the city. Reinforcements do come in, I believe in turn 9 in here. So it's very important that they don't get between you and your objective, otherwise they take at least another attack and you won't be able to get your brilliant victory. So I think with this guy I'm trying to either clear out this or go for their supply source. Very strange they didn't put a guy on their own supply though. I mean, that's just not smart. Now, I can probably be beaten back in the next turn, but it's still a little bit strange. Okay, now we're just trying to take out the danger of these guys can't really move at all, but we still don't want them to be able to do any damage to our completely resource-starved units. We do notice though they will be resupplied because of this line here. So they do come in handy, and that's the whole point. You're trying to reconnect two armoured forces together. Okay, well they just did that, which was not nice. But they certainly secured their own supply there. Infantry become really pointless once you've cleared out your supply line. They're more there just to, I guess, keep the reinforcements from behind. Very important to note, do this. Absolutely must. Take these hexagons, these 6, because what you'll find is reinforcements will come in the next turn, and they'll go straight here and here, and then this will be a nightmare. Also, the reason why I put in my engineers into this guy particularly is these guys are both entrenched, and you'll be able to absolutely decimate their entrenchment. So very, very important. This is more holding action. Just keep your supply lines healthy and going. See, there come in the reinforcements. If you do try to go, say, with this unit south and take their supply point, I've not really seen the benefit of that. It doesn't seem quite worth it, because if you get reinforcements in here, you're gone. You won't be able to achieve the brilliant victory. Okay, our units are now resupplied. We're turn 9, so we have 2 more turns. See, it's just push them forward. Get as close in. There's no way these units are going to be able to interfere. The weather will completely stop that from happening. If you want, this guy could have come down here, really, and taken that supply point. But it's obviously not necessary. Okay, we're just removing that second objective point, so that we can try to hit it with as much as we can. Now, I just disbanded a double veteran unit, but we achieved a brilliant victory 1 turn early. So sometimes victory comes at a high price, but it's victory. Game's over. So just re-noting, take your engineer off this, stick it onto your armor, push your armor south. Remember, before you do push your armor south, you need to have a unit on here. This will cut off the supply for all of this, and then the weather, which is always the same, will make sure supplies don't get beyond this point. Once you've done that, these units should eventually come down here, and then eventually link up with these 2 units here, which will be will mean that they'll be able to be resupplied down the eastern seaboard or eastern lake supply line. Then you'll take your objective, and that's how it's done. 1 turn ahead on turn 10. Well, let us know how you went on this one, and just comment below, let us know your experience, and I hope that you have gained some experience from watching this. Cheers, mate, and have a good one.